Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Beyond the Brand. So this one right here is special. I got to chop it up with my guy, Andrew Tyree, actor, host, creative entrepreneur, poet, I mean, you name it. He has done it. And we got into a conversation that I think a lot of people need to hear right now. We talked about what it really takes to be the face of your brand, especially when you don't really feel like you're ready. When you don't like how you sound, when you don't like how you look on camera, when you're stuck behind this idea of needing things to be perfect before you start showing up, this show will help you, trust me. Andrew dropped gems in building confidence, why authenticity beats polish every time, and how to stop caring so much about what other people might think. So if you've been second guessing yourself, holding off on lunch or something, or just struggling to show up, this combo is definitely for you. Let's get into it. And there he is.
What's up, brother? What's up? What's up?
Man, living the life over here. Man, if you could see my room right now with all this technology over the place, you would literally like probably cry a river of tears for all the work that I put in just for stuff not to work.
Or I would rob you, or I would come
That
over
that's
and
possible.
take
Re- re-
some.
Remind me to take you off of the invite for the
Yeah,
barbecue.
yeah. You don't want me up in there with that.
No, man, it's all good. Honestly, a lot of this stuff came from some of our conversations. Seeing some of your setup and thinking through. I'm like, man, that's nice how he did that. I like that piece. How can I,
So you,
update? And
so you robbed me.
I wouldn't call it robbery. I would call it borrowing. You know what I
Sure,
mean? Borrowing your style. You know
sure,
what I mean?
sure. Yeah. Well, as you can see, I'm definitely not set up in my space now. I got two kids under the age of 4 downstairs. So that's where my studio is. It's in our extra room at the front of the house. And when they are around, not only do they not care
Mm.
about when I have something to do, they tend to get louder.
Oh yeah.
They tend to get more excitable. So I decided to come up to the spare bedroom. So my background's a little plain, but yes.
That's okay. We will be able to see that on the YouTube and the stuff that we're gonna drop later on in the conversation.
Yeah.
So don't worry, they'll be able to check out all your stuff. I That feels like my first plan live with this a few weeks back.
Hmm.
I was in traffic trying to get home so I can be in my studio and do it. And then it just wasn't happening. So I found myself pulling over, going to a Starbucks and dealing with bad Wi-Fi the whole live. But
There you go. There you
it
go.
worked out though.
I
It's
like
part of
that.
life.
Yeah, I like that.
You know that feeling when you got a big vision, but nobody around you can really trust to help you bring it to light? Yeah, been there. And that's exactly why I created the Build Your Brand community. It's not just another group, it's a space where smart, creative, purpose driven entrepreneurs come together to get real support, real strategy, and real growth. We're not here to hustle harder, we're here to build smarter. So if you've been trying to build your brand in a vacuum, and you're struggling, maybe it's time to stop doing it alone. There's a seat in the room waiting on you. Visit robbrinson.com for more information. And let's get back into this episode. So speaking of which, man, before we hop into the conversation, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you've been involved in. Because I mean, the track record is long, and I feel like I said in the opening, when it comes to you having the confidence to speak on camera, on stage, to two people, to 2,000 people, I feel like it's on 10, right? And a lot of people don't have that. Where did that come from? You feel like it's just like naturally in you or what?
That comes from probably a really hard life,
Mm,
unfortunately, and not thinking that I was good at anything else for a very long time.
mm,
So, I always wanted to be in a good position in life. I always wanted to be able to take care of my family and myself, especially, after growing up and having moments where like that wasn't possible. Um, and realizing that being on stage and being talented at being on stage was a path to be okay. And that's what I thought I could do. That's what I thought I could do that would not be boring. It would not put me to sleep. It wouldn't upset my chakras. You know what I mean? And so it started really early, and I wanted to make sure that I was good at it. I started playing violin when I was 5,
Mm.
and brought the paper home to my mom one day. I was like, "Oh, they're giving out free violin lessons at school." She had to rent the violin. We didn't have no money, and she told me, I remember this. She told me, she was like, "You can play the violin. I'm gonna get you this violin, but every time they offer you a solo, every time they offer anything, you
Mm.
better be the first one
Okay.
with your hand up. Because if you ever shrink to the back, ever, I'm taking the violin away. It's too much money."
Mm.
He's like, "It's too much money to rent this violin. It's too much money for these lessons outside of school." And she meant it. So she had me in there practicing every day when I was crying, when I didn't want to practice, and every time there was a solo, there's pictures of me playing with the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra, little black kid, a bunch of white kids. I was the only little black speck out in front because she would not let me not step out there and do it. And so that kind of was that's kind of always how I attack things from that.
Clearly, look, I left off the comedian piece. I don't know
Yeah,
what was I thinking about. This man said the only little black
that's
speck. That is
it. That's it.
hilariously not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's the late '80s, early '90s. We're in
Yeah,
Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'm playing with the Youth Symphony Orchestra. Wasn't no black people, wasn't no
yeah.
black kids, man. It was me. So,
Mm. So
you
that
know,
kind of
uh
anyhow, the bottom line is that kind of forced you into it a little bit. You know,
yeah,
your mom helping
yeah,
you to stay kind of engaged and focused. So from there, like there was the innate part where she pushed it out. But did you find it difficult? I know a lot of people, when they are in the spotlight, whether they're thrust into the spotlight or whether they go after it, when it actually happens, it can almost freeze you over. Like I'll give a quick example, then I'll give you your get your thoughts on it. I know for me specifically, I wanted to be an actor growing up, like when I was a young kid, but not because it's just because of the stardom and the fame, right? It was never a real passion of mine. I went to some auditions in my early 20s, and leading up to the actual audition, it felt great. I felt good. I knew my lines. One of them, I even threw the paper away. I was like, I don't need this. I got this memorized. Man, I went behind the curtain, deer in headlights, frozen. And I don't know why that was, but like, was that something you ever dealt with, or did you like get in the moment and you were just naturally okay, just like you were behind the camera?
Yeah, I feel like it's that's natural for anybody. Anytime you're going up in front of somebody and you're asking them, because when else in our lives do we say like, "Judge me to my face"? We never ask anybody who doesn't know us, who has no attachment to us, that I'm going to do something. I'm going to do a performance. I'm going to do something, whatever it is. I'm going to cook this bread and I want you to judge me right now. Even the chef at the restaurant is behind a closed door, but he only comes out when you say, "Tell the chef to come out here. I want to tell him how good this is." Chef,
Mm,
unless you're at hibachi, like he's not cooking at your table. So it's not a natural thing to do. But when you get the applause and when you feel good about what you've done,
mm,
you've kind of learned to put the judgment to the side, and it's partly delusion. Part
mm.
of it is like I was good no matter what, and there are a million other reasons why I might not have gotten a role. I just got passed up for a role, a job last week,
Hmm.
and still stings. Still stings.
Hmm.
Like I've gotten really big jobs. I got passed over for a job last week that I felt like I did pretty well. I got the call back. Call back went well. That was on a Friday. Monday, my agent called me and she was like, "Yeah, they passed." And I had to ask her twice. "You said they did what?"
I don't know if I
They,
heard you right. Check your Wi-Fi.
it, you know what I mean? And so it still bothers me, but it's you get so used to it, and and you start to see also the people who make it. I saw this
Mm,
post. I'm sure you saw it because it's been going viral. Of Obama talking about um, the normalcy that he experiences being in big rooms.
mm.
How he, he
It's like
got
he
to
wanted a seat
Harvard.
at the table. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to Harvard. He got to Harvard. He realized, oh, it's some stone idiots at Harvard. He
Uh-huh.
got to the Senate. He's like, oh, it's some idiots who know nothing in the Senate
Mhm.
talking to world leaders. He has some brilliant people there too, but there's also some idiots. So same thing with acting, same thing with being on stage. You see people on stage who are trash,
Mhm.
who are absolutely horrible, and you like, oh, you got a lot of confidence walking your ass up here, like, like you
Right.
and you know you terrible. So how dare I, who feel like I have a moniker, a little bit of talent,
Mhm.
second guess what I got going on?
So in other words, it's almost like you can't be afraid to fail,
Mm-mm.
right? And you have to like push the fear aside and go forward with the thing that you want to do
Mm-hmm.
without thinking about the competition per se, or the person
Yeah,
that went before you that was really good in your
and it's
eyes, or even
harder
the
to do
person that
now.
you haven't seen. Well,
Yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
harder to do now. It's harder to do that now because
Mm,
back in the day, I mean, it's easier to do that now. Excuse me. Back in the day, it used to be really hard because you had to go to these auditions in person,
mm,
and you had to see 30 people who looked just like you, and you had to hear the audition happening in the room before you went in there. You're like, dang, I was going to do that. All right. You know what I mean? And you have to go in there and be like, hey, I'm Andrew. I'm here to, play the role of Rod. Uh, you know what I mean? They were like, all right, go ahead. My friend Kareem Grimes, he's an actor out in LA. He tells a story of going to an audition, and right before he went in, he heard the casting director in the room trying to book Ray J. Like, hey, we're trying to find out Ray J's availability for the role, blah 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 blah. Hangs up and like next, and you got to go in there, and now you got to
right.
do your audition. So it used to be a lot harder. Now you do your self tape. You can tape 8 times, mess up,
Mm.
delete it. It's easy now. You know,
Speaking
to
of
it's
that, I wanna jump in on that part because I know we have some people that are gonna watch this who either have businesses or they're trying to strike up an online profile, and they're not really the in front of the camera kind of person. I always hear, "Oh, no, 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 I'm a behind the camera kind of person," right? But they still have dreams and aspirations that are semi tied to their ability to speak on a microphone or in front of a crowd or on a camera doing a selfie,
sure,
going live, those
sure.
type of things. Is there any, I suppose, advice or tips or thoughts you have for somebody that might be struggling with that, whereas that's never been a thing you had to struggle with?
Yeah, no, for sure. One, I struggle with it all the time. I just, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care. And you know, the beauty about social media is, it's kind of lifted the veil on perfection. Like back,
Mhm.
you hear Denzel talk about it. He's like, movie stars, they show up when it's, you never see them dressed to the nines on a late night talk show. You're at a movie premiere. And you're like, man, this
Mhm.
fool always looks like this. But now, with social media being what it is, you get to see people in their raw, unfiltered, messy divorce, splitting up the kids,
Yeah.
early, and you get to see that. So
Mhm.
people like the authenticity. Some of your most
Mhm.
famous, most viral, most amazing shows go that way because it's raw.
Yeah.
I would say 80, 70, 80% of the viral moments on social media are people making mistakes.
Mm.
So post it,
That's
you know,
good.
put it up there,
That's
man. We
good.
don't really want to see your
Perfection.
polished, perfect.
Hi, I'm
Yeah,
Rod.
I don't, come on, man. I don't want to see that. I want to see it messy. I want to see a light fall. I want to see you recording and a
Mm.
light fall and you be like, buy my book. You know what I mean? Like I might buy that book because that's real.
Mhm.
I want to see you the most the thing that I like the most on social media right now is
Mhm.
watching people build. I love behind the scenes content. I love my name's Andrew. Last year I decided to become an author. This year I'm writing my first novel. Come with me as I write my first novel and try to
Mm.
get a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the process. It's the journey.
Yeah,
Like
and
you
it's
said.
messy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
It's
good.
messy. I want to see you at midnight. I want to see you spill some coffee on your manuscript and be like, I want to see that.
Uh,
So
Now
yeah,
that's some of that stuff is hard to manufacture because like the videos where I see people laying in the bed sleep and it's like holding the phone, it's like some of that stuff you have to stage in order to show it, so it's not truly authentic. But some of those things can be authentic if you set your camera up and you go to
yeah,
record something and all of a sudden it falls over, you go pick it up.
yeah,
Those things you can kind of show. So I think that's important. But you made a very valid point that I don't think a lot of people have yet to kind of come to grips with, and that is you have to stop caring. And not caring in the sense of going on the camera any kind of way. Obviously, you want to like, do something to your hair or whatever.
mm-hmm,
But it's okay if you're not all put together and caked up for a woman,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
like super lined up for a man. Like
mm-hmm.
it's perfectly fine if you didn't get a haircut the day of the time you decided to record.
Exactly,
And when you
exactly.
don't care and you put those things out, people can resonate and connect with that because they feel
Yeah.
like it's okay. All right, I can trust this person. They're not trying to just sell me something.
Yeah, and they
You know
know
what
what
I
it's
mean?
like to build something. My favorite pages on socials now are even the pages that tell origin stories of um, businesses, of founders.
Mm,
Like because I'm diving into that world now, and it's like, oh, you think that all founders do it this way, or all people that have a unicorn business do it this way. But no, this was a mistake, or this was a problem they were just trying to solve, or they were the CEO and the employee for the first 6 years,
mm,
and then they got, and you're like, oh, like
yeah.
now I could do that, so I think that's
It
really
makes it
interesting.
relatable. That's a good point. Did you hear the story about the Starbucks CEO and how
I
Starbucks
don't think
almost
so.
didn't
I
exist?
don't think
Man,
so.
you need to find that
Go,
video. It's really
go ahead.
inspiring. But like, dude was working his butt off and doing all type of things, and it wasn't working out for him. And he was a little frustrated about it, but he was still working. His wife was pregnant. I won't do the story any justice, but I will
Hmm.
sum it up and say she was like 7, 8 months pregnant, and money
Oh,
wasn't
I
flowing
think I
in.
did hear.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
and
Keep going.
living
Keep
with
going.
the parents. He was living with his in laws, and the father was in his face like, "What's up, man? Like, you got my daughter pregnant. Like, what are you doing? You need to go get a real job. Like, you might want to let this go." And he fought through it, and he was getting ready to quit. And he went to his wife and was just like, "Hey, like, I want to support you. I want to provide for you, and this isn't working out. Like, I think I'm gonna go get a job." And she was like, "No, like, this is your thing. Go for it. Do it." And that turned everything around for
Yeah,
him. And before you know it, Starbucks became Starbucks.
yeah.
But it's those stories that give a little insight and make you go, ah, he is human.
Hmm.
Ah, it is
Yeah,
okay. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Those stories, when they tell you the real ages of these people when they make it, I struggled with that for so
Mm,
long. I
mm,
struggled with where I was in my career compared to where I wanted to be. Mind you, some people would see my resume and see the accolades and be like, "Man, you're doing great." I personally was like, I feel like I could have been boom, but I spent time doing this, spent time doing that. And then I started researching like the age when people actually crested and made it. And I even the reality is so far away from what they show,
mm, mm.
um, that it's important to dig deep and find out what's really going on. So you don't talk yourself out of a win.
Right. Say that again. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. The
Say that.
reality is so different. The reality of what's really happening out there is so different
Mm,
than what they show, what they've been showing. It's important that you find that out because you will talk yourself out of a win. You will say, I'm too old. You say, I got too many kids. You'll say, I can't pivot.
mm-hmm.
Ah, I can't be an actor for 20 years and then decide I want to go start a company, or I can't have a company for 20 years, sell it, and then go act because people are going to be like, what are you
Right.
doing?
What are you doing? Why did you do that? Yeah. Why don't you just stay over here? Man, that's
Yeah.
so
But
big.
read up on Vera Wang, read up on all these people who had a career change at 45,
Yeah.
47, 50,
Or
was
they
just
didn't
like
pop into like Morgan Freeman. I
Morgan
realized
Freeman.
the other
Yeah.
day somebody was like, "Man, we don't know how old he is."
Yeah.
It was actually it's a like a documentary style thing that's on Apple TV with all of the actors. I think it's called
Number one on the call sheet.
Number One on the Call Sheet.
Hmm.
Really, really good. Have you watched it yet?
Not yet, but
You need
it's on my list.
you need to watch it tonight. I watched
Yeah,
the first episode. But anyhow, everybody always joking like Morgan Freeman was 90 when he was
yeah,
born. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
here's why I didn't realize it. He didn't really get his start until he was 50
yeah.
something. You
Yeah,
know,
I think Samuel L. Jackson was 45 or 47 before he was in like oh, I'm blanking now. The Spike Lee joint.
do the
Anyway,
right
he
thing.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
mid to late 40s.
It's so many stories like that, man. We could go on and on
Yeah.
with these people who just, ended up where they are now later on in life. But
Hmm.
it took courage. It took
Yeah.
them actually walking into it and not being afraid. And
Hmm.
it took them being okay with how they look, how
Yep.
they sound,
Yep.
how can I say this? I feel like it's a mandatory part that you have to stop caring about what other people might be thinking because they're
Yeah.
probably not thinking the thing that you think that they're thinking.
Probably not thinking it. They probably don't
Yeah.
care. I was listening to Sam Altman, uh, huge founder, talk about people in their NDAs.
Mhm.
And he was like, all you guys are here and you guys all are very, very concerned about telling people your idea because somebody might steal it. He was like, nobody cares. Like
Mhm.
nobody thinks your idea, nobody's gonna hear your idea and go, that's $1 billion idea. I'm about to go do that first. He was like, you could give, Tim Cook or whoever your idea and the instructions on how to implement it. Not only are people busy, they're
Mhm.
building their own things and nobody has your vision. So you don't have to spend time worrying about, oh, I can't talk about my idea on social media or I can't talk about my idea because they're going to steal it. Nobody wants to do that shit.
Yeah,
Like, I
they're
don't
not
want to
paying
do
that much
it.
attention to you.
I don't want to do it. Like you have a really good thing going, right? Like you are great at what you do. You build brands and you're excellent at it. And if you said, Andrew, I have an idea on how to build brands that's going to be $100 million idea, I would be like, dope. I can't do that. You
Right.
do that, and you let me know how I can help you, and
Right.
I'll be in the mix. But
Or even if
I
you
can't
feel like it's a great idea, it's like the energy and the effort necessary to go and take that and try to do it. Yeah,
because
like you said, people are
I gotta
busy.
stop all my
Yeah.
stuff that I'm building to go build
Yeah.
your thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So, all that is to say, uh, people don't care. You should stop caring. And
Mm-hmm.
then my biggest thing, the biggest thing that you didn't even ask fast. Like don't be afraid to fail fast. If you get an idea, that doesn't mean chase every loose idea you have in your brain. But if you get an idea and you think it's promising, try it.
Mm-hmm.
Test it. Test it. Just do it. And if it's terrible, leave it alone. If you think it doesn't have legs once you try it, leave it alone. There's nothing wrong with failing fast. People are so afraid to fail. I have a genius friend. I want to call him a genius friend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, MBA, worked for just genius. And he will spend months, years on an idea, and you'll never see the idea.
Right.
And he'd be like, bro, just put the thing out.
Right. What are you waiting
He's
on?
like, oh, it's not perfect and it's not this. I got a couple friends like that. And it's like, bruh, just put it out. And if it's trash, bye. It's okay.
Right. But
It's okay.
now you know it's trash,
Now you
right?
know it's
But the
trash. Now
opposite
do
end
you
of that is you put it out and it pops, and it's like, okay, they accepted it even though it's not perfect in my mind.
yeah. Or you put
Yeah.
it out and it's like it needs a little tweak. It's not completely trash, but oh, I didn't think about how to do this. That's weird. I'm glad I didn't go too far,
Hmm.
not knowing how to do that little piece right there.
I tell my customers the same thing all the time. Like, there's a difference between actually walking a mile and looking at the mile saying I'm going to walk it. Right? Yes, it is daunting to think about some of the things that you have a fear about or that you're struggling with, but you will never know what it feels like and what it could have been or what would have happened if you didn't just go ahead and put it out there.
Yeah.
So don't get caught up in the procrastination game where you're trying to perfect it so that when you're going, like even this live, I put a little time into it for sure to make sure things look right. I got my neon light in the back and
I see you.
whatever. But if the light didn't work, guess who would still be doing my live?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? I'm
yeah.
having issues right now. I don't know if you can tell, but like probably every 5 minutes, my phone tries to connect to my computer and it messes up my
Mm,
audio. I got to
mm,
disconnect it and it freezes.
hmm.
But I'm not going, oh, Andrew, we can't do the live
Yeah,
anymore, man. I'm happy.
yeah,
No, you just push the ball forward because guess what?
yeah.
If you say you want something,
Hmm.
then go after it.
Go after
You can't.
it. And something is going to go wrong. You might as well
Right.
just bank on it. You might as well bank on it. I have never heard a story from anybody of them saying like, "Yeah, I did it," and everything just everything was just everything was perfect. Never had no issues. So you might as well not even trip on that. That's gonna happen. And if it hasn't happened yet, it's coming.
What do
So.
you say to the people who feel like, well, I don't have to be the face of my business. My business is successful thus
Mm.
far. I've made money. My logo is my profile pic. I don't post reels or do any of that stuff. Like, why do I need to pull a phone out and be on camera in order to be successful? What do you say to
Uh,
that person?
you know, uh, Depending on your business, I would
Mm-hmm.
say you don't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that I love founder-led businesses. I love businesses where like I can tap into the founder. I know what they're about. This new thing that I'm going after, we're building that website, and I was trying to find out what calendar app I was going to use. And Squarespace has their own calendar app. Everybody has a calendar app. Now, Calendly is obviously a calendar app too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was doing some research, and I found a video of the CEO of Calendly, a brother, talking about what he believes in, how he managed to start Calendly. And I was like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Like, I'm going to go with Calendly because I
Mm-hmm.
like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the one thing I don't want to ever do is end up using some stuff and find out that the CEO or the founder.
So, what's really holding your business back? Can I be honest with you? Sometimes the biggest reason your brand isn't growing is the one that you haven't seen. I do one on one consultations with business owners all the time who come in thinking that they have a marketing problem, only to discover it's actually a brand clarity issue or something deep beneath the curtains of their business, right? It could be a customer journey gap, it could be a number of things. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels, trying to figure it out on your own, and actually figure out what's not working, let's talk. One session, real answers, no gimmicks. You can book a consultation with me directly at rodbrinson.com. Let's get back to this episode, but I'm looking forward to connecting with you.
Somebody I don't relate to. I hate.
Right.
I gave my Tesla back quick. like, like I love my Tesla. I gave that Joker back so fast, man. I'm driving a Hyundai Sonata or
Right.
a
Right.
Santa Fe.
Right.
I
Right. You don't want to
gave.
associate
It
yourself.
don't matter what they had on the lot. I'm like, what? Can it fit two kids in the back? Let me get that because you can have this Joker back.
That's hilarious. You know,
Take it back.
so I own a Tesla, and ever since stuff started
Still?
going crazy, yeah. Here's why. So everything started going crazy, and I felt like this little drip of water in the lake of Elon will probably not really affect him. But I don't want to try to find a car right now. I'm too busy with stuff, and I'm just gonna hold on to it until I just get so pissed off that I ain't got no choice.
You not you
So
not you
I don't
not that pissed off yet?
see. So you know why? You know why? Because I don't watch the news. My news
Okay.
comes from people like you who watch the news and say, "Man,
Okay.
Rod, did you hear this?" And I go,
Okay.
"No, I didn't. Why don't you
Okay.
tell me
Fair
about it?"
enough.
I
Fair
want my
enough. Fair
sanity.
enough. Fair enough.
Now
No,
I do pay attention to some
yeah.
things for sure because I think it's important to be aware, but I don't get so caught up into it because I'm trying to build something,
Yeah, no, I
right?
feel
And
you.
so going back
I,
to what you said, like,
I'll tell you this.
mhm.
Tesla take it back quick. It
Oh
didn't take me no time.
really?
I brought that Joker back. I could have went to Rivian. I could have went to somebody said Polestar in there. They got a couple new joints coming out. It's a quick Google search, my guy. You
Okay.
can take that. You can take that Joker back quick.
Now, when you say take it back, is it like take it back and you lose $5,000, or it's
I mean,
like,
it depends on your setup. I don't know. It
okay,
depends on
okay,
your setup. But
I might
I
consider
didn't I
it.
didn't I
Yeah.
didn't I didn't lose nothing, and I'm looking for my next electric because I like to stay electric. But I got some hot stuff coming out now. We can have a car conversation. But I it wasn't even about me trying to hurt his pocket. It was
Mhm.
about like how I feel when I turn the joint on in the
Ah,
morning.
the
You know, I'm not trying
association.
to like he's the richest man in the world. You're right. Like my Tesla ain't finna hurt his pocket, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get in the car and feel good. I'm here to use,
Mm.
you know, I want to. If I found out the calendar app I was using on my website was run by you know a terrible person who you know did terrible things, I couldn't. I don't even want to use it. I don't even want to use it.
You making
So
some great points though. Let's think about that from that perspective
mm,
too, right? Here's Elon, who has obviously been the face of his brand and the face of his thing, his company, whatever it is. And I think that that has added to some of his early success because people were looking at him going, "Oh man, he's cool, he's smart, he's whatever," right? But on the flip side of that coin, now that he's doing some things people don't really agree to, like now it's hurting his brand,
yeah,
you know. So just in the same way that your face and your likeness and the way you talk and how your personality and all of that as the founder can influence people to want to be a part of a company, it could also do the opposite.
yeah,
And if you're not put together, if your brand is not sharp, if you don't have integrity and character and you're not making smart decisions, all of that stuff will literally affect the way people see
hundred
you. So
percent.
it's less about how you sound and more about what you're saying. And it's
Yeah,
less about how you look and more about how you're making people feel, right?
yes, yes, and maybe because I also think that you know we're thinking about ourselves as black men, and we'd love to support anybody, but we love to support black people, black men and women, brown people, like because black people it doesn't really move us. But there are
Mhm.
people out there who will find out that there's a brother who with little dreadlocks or whatever the hell these things are doing in my hair, like is running a company and be like, "Oh no, I'm not.
Yep.
I'm not dealing with
Hmm.
that." So you have to think about that too. You got to think about what
But
business am I going into,
do
and do
you
I
though?
want?
Do you though? Let's talk about that.
Um,
That's kind of the point though. Like, so for
yeah,
instance, like in the show we were just talking about, the first on the call list or whatever, number one on the call list. You know, obviously that came up. And you think about the Whoopi Goldbergs and how, you know, Steven Spielberg cast her in Color Purple. Um, and you know, obviously it's a black film, so it makes sense. But she tried for so many roles before that and didn't get the spot, or Viola Davis, who's freaking phenomenal, but she hadn't really been getting lead actress roles. You know what I mean? Tom Cruise is not gonna save her from a bomb and kiss her, and you know what I mean. But why is that? It's because of all of these stereotypes and different things that we're talking about, where you have to think about it. But you shouldn't have to think about it from a place of if I do this, then I won't get success or I won't get customers because they won't like me because of XYZ. And here's why I said it, and I pause for your thoughts. Your customers are your customers. So if somebody's gonna walk away from you because of the way you look or the way your hair is, then they're not your customer anyway. Right? I don't think a person should have to change who they are from an outward appearance point of view in order to attract customers because now you're not being yourself anyway. Now you're just faking the funk in order to try to achieve some things that you want.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think that goes back to not caring, right? That goes back to like you have to be able to not care and be okay with whoever comes and whoever doesn't come. But I definitely know that there are, I mean, we all know that there are black and brown business, like in acting, you really don't have a choice. You got to audition, like you got to show your face to audition. But in a you know a fintech company or in a SaaS company, like you don't. You can build some amazing fintech products and be like, every single one of my clients is 60 plus and white, and you can just choose. I'm not going to be the face of my brand because I want to land X, Y, and Z. I wouldn't fault that person for that.
No, I
I don't
get
know that I would do
it.
it. I don't know that I would do it. I'm pretty, you know, I'm
And I'm
obviously.
sure some people have done that and reached certain levels of success.
And then you pop
It's
out on them like, bye, gotcha.
or they call an in-person meeting and you trying to negotiate a network and they're like, "Hey, where's Bob?" And it's like, "I am
That's
Bob."
yeah, that's
Like,
me, brother.
"Bob, I didn't know you had locks."
Yeah, well, welcome. No, facts. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. You just choose who you want to be. Like you said, you choose what's most important to you. You choose who you want to be. Content is very different than corporate or you know choice, stand up, things like that. But there were authors who wrote under pen names because they were women and they wanted to make sure that people read their books without bias. And then they popped out on them later like, gotcha, bitch. So like people have been doing this for a long time, just kind of understanding what the landscape is. And we're in a day and age where there are black and brown brands that are doing just great, and there's enough support for a brand to do wonderfully, no matter what the founder looks like. But there are some accounts you're probably gonna lose still, because it's just the way the world
Yeah,
is. You know.
exactly. And that's, I guess that's the prefaces, like the precipice of my point. I don't
There
even
you
know the
go.
word at this point.
You got it. You
But
nailed it.
yeah, you know, when you go into business, there are gonna be people who like you and people who dislike you, people who want your product and people who don't. And
Yeah.
there are gonna be people who get turned off just because of whatever it is, whether it's your hair, the color of your skin, the way you sound. It could be a number of things.
Yeah.
And there are gonna be other people who support you just because of those
Because
same
of that.
things.
Yeah. Facts.
Right? So it's like, instead of focusing your energy and attention on trying to circumvent that situation, is, in my opinion, much more um, pertinent and necessary to
Yeah.
focus on your customer, because
Yeah.
your customer, if and when I say that, here's what I mean. Amazon got to where it is because it focused on the customer. Obviously they did some old shady stuff too
Hmm.
to get that big, but their whole premise was, we want to get it to you faster, we want to get it to you cheaper, and
Hmm.
people bought into it because it was serving them. Now what they had to do on the front end of that is, go into negative with their profits for about 10 years.
Hmm.
And investors were like, bro, what's going on? But they continued to hit their number in every other category. And,
Hmm.
and why am I bringing that up? If you focus on the customer and your product or your service is sharp, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter
Hmm.
what you sound like. They're
Hmm.
not going to be able to stop it from going where it goes.
Right.
Right? Think about Biggie Smalls. Was he the most attractive rapper in a female's eye? Probably not.
Some women will
Yeah.
say so. Some women will lie to you and
Yeah.
say, "Uh oh, there you go."
He still found himself on the top
Yeah.
echelon of,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say sex symbols because I don't know. I mean, ladies have to tell me. Look, Cam said absolutely not. But here's my point. There were some women
Oh, there's
who,
always
because of
one,
his
two,
stature,
10, 100. Yeah. Hmm.
what did he say in that? He said, look, plus I talk about how about dressing. I mean, he got the lyrics that proved, hopefully proved. I don't really know if it's true or not, but you get my point.
Yeah.
But
No, for sure.
bottom line is, man, I think that people are afraid to show themselves because of what they have in their mind.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm trying to dispel. Like, what you have in your mind about how you look and how you sound is a fallacy.
Yeah.
And the only way to figure out how to swim is to dive in the pool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. 100%.
put it out there, get it out there.
100%. 100%.
So where are
100%.
people going to be able to see you around here, man? I know you said you're working on a couple of different things. What you got
Yeah,
going right
I've
now?
been in hiding, man. Sometimes, at the risk of sounding churchy, because I'm not churchy, but at the risk of sounding churchy, sometimes you gotta like just kind of go into hiding, and that's what I
Mhm.
think I've been doing. So I left NBC, or NBC left me at the end of last year, and so this year has been kind of trying to figure out what I want to do. I built a community called Future Proof, wefutureproof.com. It'll be back up in a day or two, but that's just a community for people who are interested in a conversation like this, who want to figure out how to show up as their authentic self on camera, whether it be on TV, on stage, in real life, on social media. And it's a conversation for people to have around how that industry and others are changing, and making sure you're equipped with the skills and the connections to future proof your career and
Mm.
your goals. So that's futureproof and wefutureproof.com. And then what I'm building with Portforce is a B2B business, but it's essentially on demand field reps for any sort of specialty consumer good. So we're focused on spirit brands, but we also do meal prep. And, if you make delicious Louisiana crunch cakes in your kitchen and now you're trying to expand your your brand and your reach, that's what we focus on, making sure that you who live in Atlanta can expand your brand to Detroit without you
Mm.
having to go and build a sales. So we do that 1099 employees, good training, good onboarding. And yeah, it's been launched it 3 months ago and it's been pretty good, pretty successful.
Nice. Okay. No, I love that, man. And I think that's part of what we're saying here. Like you gotta get out here, you gotta try stuff out, you gotta see what works. And half of the time you might think you want to do one thing one way, and once you start doing it, you realize, I kind of want to pivot and go over here and do this over
Hmm.
here. But you'll
Hmm.
never know that until you get your feet wet and figure it out,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I am a champion for that. I do believe that a lot of people would be further along in life if they
Mm.
were open to trying things and deciding to let go of the fear associated with the thing that's holding them back. So
Yeah.
I applaud you, man, for stepping
Yeah,
into
man.
that and not being afraid to just say, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try
I'm
this. I'm gonna give
gonna
this a
do this
run.
thing. Yeah, yeah. I've always been very interested in, like, I've always wanted to build a business, but I've never been able to find a simple enough problem that I felt like I could solve.
Mm,
And running in these circles with these brand makers, I touched different spaces in the spirits industry where I partnered on a couple spirits. I'm a partner in a vodka and in a brandy, and having these business meetings. Everybody had the same issue. We
mm,
don't know how to scale, how to expand because we don't have boots on the ground in these different places. And I was like, that's a problem I think I can solve. So I got real quiet. If you look at my social media, I haven't posted anything on social media besides our posts in like the past couple months. I got real quiet and I just figured out how to build it and I did it. So,
mm.
yeah, super excited about that.
Got real quiet and figured out how to do it. That's a vital part of that too. A lot of
Yeah,
people are loud.
yeah.
A lot of people I see people post all the time and talk about what they're gonna do and what's about to come. And it's like that's cool, but to a
Hmm.
certain degree. If it doesn't have a call to action, right, on the other end of it, if it doesn't have an
Yeah.
email sign up list, if it doesn't have, like
Yeah.
why are you putting this out here? People need to have the ability to tap into something if you're announcing it,
Yeah.
because
100%.
otherwise, I mean, you might as well get $1.5 million and do a Super Bowl commercial
Yeah.
without a way for people to buy something. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point of
What?
that?
Because what if it goes viral? Like, what if it does do what you want it to do? Then what?
If at minimum, it's going to have eyeballs on it.
Hmm.
And anytime somebody can see something that you're doing, you want them to be able to action anything that they would want to do if it came up in their mind. I'll give you a quick example. If I'm just making something up, starting a cupcake business
Yeah.
and you put online, hey, I'm starting a cupcake business, you're going to get congratulations,
Hmm.
yay, all this support,
Hmm.
right? In the likes and comments. But how is any of that tied to you making revenue at any point? It's not. All they're
It's
doing
not.
is letting people know about it in that moment, and then they're gonna go back to their lives and forget about it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, add this flavor on top of that. If you don't start this cupcake business for the next 3 months, they're gonna go, yeah, I knew she wasn't about that. I knew he wasn't gonna do it. He just talked. You're
Yeah.
basically advertising mediocrity.
Yeah. And it don't matter. And it doesn't matter why. You could have had a
Hmm.
death in the family. You could have
Right.
moved. You could have lost your job. It doesn't matter why you didn't end up starting a cupcake business. Just the fact that you told him it was coming and it didn't come
Yep.
is enough to make people go, he don't really mean what he said.
Right.
He don't really
Right.
mean what he said. And so, like, I've always kind of been like, I like the ability to be quiet on social media too. Like, I like having a piece of business or a piece of life that is not time. I have, in my opinion, a very cute, very beautiful family. I got great daughters. We have funny moments. My phone is filled with like my daughters doing cute things, and people are always like, yo, you should start like one of these family pages where like you do the tricks and you guys do pranks and you guys do challenges and you put the kids on it. And I was like, I would hate life
Yeah.
if every time my kid did something cute, I was like,
Ooh, let
hold
me get my
on,
camera.
and I gotta post it
Yeah.
and I'm like, girl, baby, do that thing again. It's not for everybody. I'm
Yeah.
totally okay. And once I got quiet and I wasn't posting every day, I liked it.
Yeah.
Like I like I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I was like, I haven't thought about it. I haven't missed it.
It's a
Now, once this
piece.
thing is up and going, I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. But like, I was like, this is all right.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
This is all right here.
it's not just all right, it's necessary. There's a
Mm-hmm.
sanity level that's involved in breaking away and unplugging. That's why people talk about that. And
Mm-hmm.
people forget that even if you have a business, people always ask me, well, how frequent should I post? I'm trying to grow my brand. Post as frequently as you want to. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it boils down to, because guess what? If you're not posting, you're still doing something that adds to your brand. You're building
Yeah.
character, you're building integrity, you're building a story on the outside. That time
Mm-hmm.
you're spending with your family and doing those things and just like thinking through stuff versus having to, oh, I gotta post today, it's 12 o'clock. Let me make sure I act like a robot.
Mm-hmm.
That time frame that you're using to do that is building you up so that when you come back to post, you have something to
Yes,
post.
talk about.
You know
Yes,
what I mean? So
100%.
if you're listening to this and you're wondering like, oh man, like I want to really get more customers and I hear I have to post a lot more to do that. Yes, it's true. You do need to post in order to be visible, but not at the expense of your sanity and your livelihood. Don't go
Yeah.
so crazy that the phone is attached to you. You can't even just enjoy a moment.
You can't even pick up your kid because you got a phone in your hand. You like, baby, I can't pick you up right now because I'm recording you.
Yeah, daddy's busy. Go
Yeah,
sit somewhere. Like,
yeah, no, no,
yeah,
no, no. And my girls are, about to be 4, about to be 2, so they're 3 and 1. And it's like, I want to record it for my own, posterity, so I can look back on things. But I do not want them to be, the catalyst for my social media
yeah.
status or, yeah, I just don't want it.
And
I just
look,
don't want that.
that's not to knock anybody that posts their kids. I
No, no,
post my
no, no, no,
kids.
no.
You post your
Oh, me
kids.
too. Me too.
It's
They on
just to
there. Yeah.
say it's not the reason that you're recording.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're
I got some
recording
stuff on
so
my
that
phone
you
now that I'm like, oh, I might put that up there, but it's not like I have to.
If you're out here posting consistently, showing up on video, following all the rules, and still wondering why your brand isn't breaking through, it's not you. It's your strategy or the lack thereof. At Brinson Designs, we don't just make things look pretty. We build full spectrum brand ecosystems that actually move people to action. We work with founders who are tired of piecing it together and ready to get serious about their visibility, their messaging, their social media, their website, and their impact. If that's you, we should talk. Not because you need another agency, not because I need you as a customer, but because you're finally ready to stop guessing. Visit brinsondesigns.com for more. Okay, back to the episode.
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's good stuff.
When once they start making you money, you like, yo, you ain't done nothing cute in like 2 days. I'm gonna need you to get cute.
Yeah, yeah. Put that toy down. Okay, let's
Yeah.
get back to planting these flowers like we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious. But no,
Yeah.
man, I just think it's important for people to let go of fear and to be out there more. I definitely am a person who can attest to the benefit in doing that, because I was not on camera nearly as much the years before becoming full time in this as I am
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
Primarily because I realized technology just doesn't want me to be on camera. It
Wants you to be
just,
great.
but that's okay though, because I'm gonna push through.
There you
But
go.
yeah, I realized that my level of success that I want to reach requires me to be more visible.
Gotta
And
do.
that's the thing. You have to understand where you want to go. And if you
Hmm.
say, "Hey, I want to go to the moon," okay, well that requires a rocket. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, but if you don't want to go to the moon, that's okay. Like I tell people in my analogy, do you want a skyscraper business or do you want a ranch home?
Hmm.
Either one is perfectly fine. But if you
Hmm.
want a skyscraper, the first thing you got to do is clear the land and dig deep so that you have a deep enough foundation
Hmm.
with the steel and the concrete, removing the bedrock and the sand and all the things that it cannot properly stand on before you begin erecting it. Now,
Hmm.
the taller the skyscraper, the deeper you got to dig.
Hmm.
And so while you're digging, you can't be expecting people to go, "Oh man, I saw your stuff. It looked amazing." No, the
Hmm.
deepness is going to be, bro, I thought this was going to be it. I posted it. I got 100
Yeah.
views. It didn't happen. You know what I
No.
mean? That's the deep. That's the digging.
Hmm.
But again, I decided to be more on camera, even though I hate the way I sound and don't like the way I look sometimes and all of that stuff, because it's attached to my goal.
Hmm.
Now, if yours is not attached to your goal, that's perfectly fine. You want a ranch home, you don't care about having a whole bunch of followers and getting business on social media, don't
Right.
worry about posting.
Right.
But don't tell me you want to be a movie star and you're not making movies.
That's
Don't
it.
don't tell me you want to open. See, we're not gonna do that. What we're gonna do is go ahead and wrap this up because
Yes,
it's been
sir.
an amazing
Yeah.
conversation. Tell the people how they can get in touch with you, man.
Yeah. Right here. So this is hosted by Andrew Tyree. Is my social media handle here.
And this is
TikTok.
Instagram.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
This is
And
going a couple
then
of different places. That's why I
right.
said
Yep.
it.
Yep. Insta, TikTok, YouTube is also hosted by Andrew Tyree. Yeah. DM me. I'm not hard to find.
And your TikTok, man, it went viral a couple of times, man.
I mean, I
You got
do
some
some things.
you got some views to be envious of
I
over
do
there on
some things.
TikTok.
I do some things every once in a while.
For sure. Well, look, I appreciate your time. This has been an amazing conversation, man. I'm looking
Yes,
forward to
sir.
more. And y'all tune in next Tuesday. We're gonna have a super amazing guest again. Like this month has been crazy. It's gonna continue to be crazy. I'll be making that announcement coming up soon. But Andrew, thank you for your time, man. Looking forward to connecting with you
Of
offline.
course, man.
Maybe we can bring our kids around, but I'll have to think it through. You telling me you're gonna rob me at the beginning of this call. I gotta
It'll be
figure this out.
a friendly Rob, a friendly Rob.
All right. All right,
All right,
brother.
man. Peace.
Enjoy your day, man. Peace.